Korean, Taiwanese fried chicken, because these are the most popular in the country. And we basically took a regular portion that when you go to the store and order, we got that and sent it to the lab for testing. And what I can tell you is that sodium levels, the salt levels, well, in one sample, it was found to have over 800 milligrams of sodium. Just put that into perspective. On average, we're not supposed to have more than 2,000 milligrams per day. So if one piece of chicken is 800, you can imagine, well, just how much sodium we're having. I mean, I'm not going to tell you which one. You're going to watch the show to figure it out. But it's not just that, because you never eat fried chicken alone either, right? So your French fries, your mashed potato, your coleslaw. So it all kind of adds up. And if you watch the show, we'll show you just why, those numbers really add up to present a not so good number that, really isn't that great for you.
All right, Steve, so speaking of test, I hear you put your health on the line again for us by going in a fried chicken diet for 14 days straight. Wow, the things you do for work. How did it go?
I mean, when my boss first called me and said, hey, Steve, you want to do an experiment? I want you to eat fried chicken every day for 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I think I can do it. I mean, why not? Get paid to eat fried chicken. Who doesn't want to do that? But the thing is, the fried chickens really vary. I mean, have you ever heard of durian fried chicken? Yeah, I tried that too. It was a little bit strange, And my journey over 2 weeks, where basically I ate one meal every day for 2 weeks, 14 days straight, to see what it would do to my body. And it's quite amazing how our diet can really affect us. So I saw a doctor before and after the experiment. This was all done under medical supervision. But my body did react to that kind of a diet, and not in such a great way. So again, I watch the show and I'll tell you my before, after, during story of the fried chicken journey.
Steve, I'm just glad to see that you're not supersized after putting your health on the line. But Yusin, just very quickly, we all love eating fried chicken. What are the alternatives?
Well, that's what we want to find out as well. So Steve actually worked with a professional chef. They spent days and days in the kitchen, trying to develop this healthier fried chicken. It was not easy, I tell you, the amount of chicken that they eat in that few days. It was crazy. But we actually held a tasting party, and we got some guests to come along and taste this healthier fried chicken. And the million-dollar question is, whether they'll pay just a bit more for this healthier chicken.
Nation Now continues. In the next hour, we'll be checking on the top stories, including an unofficial U.S. delegation to Taiwan that will no doubt anger Beijing and stoke tensions between the two superpowers. Stay with us for all that story on Asia Now.
Look forward to brighter skies. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Follow the beats and keep on grooving in the energetic district of Gangnam. Explore where you can learn traditional Korean moves before upping the tempo with the latest K-pop routines. From the latest in hip-hop to the basics in tap dancing, Gangnam has it all. Gangnam Insiders Picks, Sunday on CMA. This program is brought to you by the Gangnam Gu office.
Malaysia is seeing what many are calling a new dawn. I'm here to make sense of these changes taking place and bring you stories from a country that's charting a new direction for its future. Years ago, CNA, Kuala Lumpur.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 New Delhi and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Lok Hui Su at this hour. Hong Kong tables a bill to overhaul the city's electoral laws as mandated by Beijing. Leaving ballots blank will be illegal. South Korean fisheries to protest outside the Japanese embassy over Tokyo's decision to dump treated water from the Fukushima plant into the sea. Official estimates showing Singapore's first quarter GDP expanding marginally, beating expectations for a contraction. We start in Hong Kong, where the Legislative Council will table changes to the city's electoral system this hour. The Beijing-led reforms aim to stamp out political opposition in the city. Well, the legislation will drastically change how elections are run. It includes a proposal to make it illegal for voters to cast blank ballots or boycott polls. Other key amendments will be the composition of a new 60-seat sector for grassroots associations in the election committee and the redrawing of constituency boundaries. It comes less than a month after Beijing cut the number of directly elected seats in Hong Kong's parliament by almost half. China also mandated that prospective lawmakers must first be vetted by a pro-Beijing committee. And Roland Lim explains what these new changes will mean for voters and also for opposition politicians in Hong Kong.
It's a massive omnibus bill affecting 8 major ordinances in Hong Kong. It will likely take until the end of May before the bill is actually finally passed by the legislature, after which then there comes the voter registration drive that will open in early June and end on June the 5th, the government says, by which time those wanting to vote should have registered by then. And then the dates have been set for the various elections that they will take place over a 12-month period. This includes the election committee elections. That's the electoral college that votes on the chief executive. That's going to take place on 19th of September, following which, or nearly 3 months later, will be the Legislative Council election. That's Hong Kong's parliament. That's going to happen on 19th of December, following which, nearly 3 months later, the chief executive race will happen on the March 27th of next year. We're already hearing from the local media that this is going to be watertight amendments, in effect marginalizing any opposition forces or any opposition political parties here in Hong Kong to a permanent minority. Taking point, for example, we're talking about 2 different elections. There's the Legislative Council elections, which happens in December. We know already that the numbers will be increased from 70 to 90, but in effect, it will be reducing the number of directly elected seats, those seats that the general public can vote on, from 35 to just 20. Now, under the new amendments that's being proposed by the government, which includes the redrawing of geographical boundaries and the fact that the system of candidates will be, apart from being vetted by a vetting committee beforehand, before being able to actually be nominated to run for an election, the way they win this time round will be 1 vote, 2 candidates, i.e. for each particular constituency, it's the 2 candidates with the highest number of votes that gets through to be elected as legislators. So analysts tell me that what this means is that out of the 20 directly elected seats offered to the public, the opposition is unlikely to garner more than just 10 of them, so half of those seats.
China has defended its move to conduct military drills in the Taiwan Strait. Its Taiwan Affairs Office says the exercises are necessary to safeguard national security and address the current security situation. The Chinese aircraft carrier, the Liaoning, is holding drills near Taiwan. China says these military exercises will be held